Good morning, stackers. The silver price is moving onwards and upwards now. I believe the correction is over after the positive Jackson Hole meeting. Let's take a look at the chart with me, Joe Main, brought to you by Perth Bullion Exchange, perthbullion.com.au, and Mastering the Markets, masteringthemarkets.com. Here is silver on the daily time frame price in USD, $38.90 roughly. Okay, let's take a look at the charts. And for the uninitiated to my channel, let's do a quick little bit of history here. Now, I am not a professional at all. Anything I say here is not financial advice, etc. But you've got what I believe to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave move up. Typically, after an Elliott wave move up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get an A, B, C correction. Now, it's some kind of A, B, C correction, and I was favoring at one point an A, B, C correction down to here, and that was down to anywhere between $34 up to about $35.30. I was kind of favoring this little box here. I was favoring in there and really favoring that the top end of this zag zone, Fibonacci, from this low and this high at that $35.30 mark. Then what we did is, I'll show you on the 4 hour very quickly. We posted a move up to that $38.50 area. We came down here and then we bounced from there. I thought we may have seen some lower moves down into this general area. You know, market go up, market go down, but sort of lower highs and lower lows going down to that C wave move down to there. However, what we did is we actually posted a slightly higher high on the 4 hour time frame. And that gave me pause, like, oh, okay, we haven't headed straight down. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and I did say back here, if we close above $38.50, so long as we remain above it, I said, then, okay, onwards and upwards we go. And I put it right here. I said, above here at $37.50, up we go next. Below here, down, more downside to come. So we posted this little high here at $38.50. And then what we noticed was a higher high in the price. And if I show you the relative strength index, let me get rid of the OBV for a second. Then you saw a lower high on the relative strength index. Okay, so higher high, lower high, and that indicated some bearish divergence on the 4 hour time frame. So I said, okay, well, we could expect a lower move down. We did break below that 37.50. So when we did that, I said, okay, well, we're below 37.50, some more downside to come. And then I posited what would be really positive is if we found support at the 0.236 here at $36.90 roughly. Then what we did is we found support basically at the $36.90, $37 area. That was really good. And then what we did in the last 48 hours, something like that, is then we bounced off there and we were hitting around about that $38.15 kind of area. So that was looking positive. Okay, I said just got to be careful, and this looks like a really nice little bottom here. Just be careful that we don't flip over. And then the Jackson Hole meeting happened, and we've seen the prices of pretty much everything, including, well, gold, other stuff, digital assets as well, the general market go in the upward direction. So why is that? And we'll talk about what kind of, in a second, we'll talk about what kind of correction this is now, and where we can potentially go from here. But the Jackson Hole meeting happened. Basically, you don't need to know a lot. Jackson Hole is a place once a year where Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, and other people meet. It's kind of like their big meeting for the year, and then he gives a speech afterwards. Basically, I think that the markets, so silver, all the other markets, were going to do what they were going to do anyway, which was find a correction somewhere and then continue onwards and upwards. However, they just needed some kind of fake because to give it the momentum to do it. Okay. Now, I think the price would have corrected eventually and would have, gone up eventually, because I'm very bullish on silver, as you know. $50 silver, no problem. Probably by the end of the year, quite potentially. Triple digit silver in the years to come, no problem at all. But what you don't know is with news like Jackson Hole, etc., is how quickly the move is going to be. So for give you a quick example right here, this is Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, talked about the Jackson Hole meeting. Basically, my feeling was if it was anything other than totally bearish news, then the price was going to pump anyway. So basically what happened is Jerome Powell came out and roughly kind of hinted that a rate cut in September is not out of the question. He didn't say we're going to cut rates in September, and when you cut rates, when you lower interest rates, generally that means that there's a more risk-on kind of environment. Markets tend to pump. Now, silver and gold tend to be, gold tends to be a risk-off asset, but even those are seeing a bit of a pump as well. So there's more liquidity coming into the market with a lowering of interest rates, and therefore things like gold, silver, digital assets, S&P 500, etc. can have a nice move. So basically, Jackson Hole meeting was kind of saying, oh, look, there's this, we've still got to consider this, we still have to consider this, but, it didn't say, definitely no rate cuts in September, and that means basically it was a green light for everyone to go, oh, okay, so there might be a rate cut in September. There's a hint of it, and markets just did what they were going to do. They probably just did them a little bit quicker. Okay, so do your own research on Jackson Hole and the Fed Powell, Jerome Powell speech, etc. But we've just seen everything have that move. So now, what I think this was, again, I'm not an Elliott Wave absolute expert, but in my research, instead of this being an traditional ABC, where the C wave falls lower than the A wave, what this could be is called, and I'll show you right here. Let me get rid of that one. I'll get rid of that one. Nope, that's not the one I want. I'll get rid of this one. And so instead of this ABC move, you're getting this ABC move here. And this is where the C wave closes higher than the A wave. And I believe this is called a running flat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a running flat. Now, I could be wrong on that. Do your own research. Someone much smarter than me could be calling it something different, but it definitely looks like to me A, B, C. This is a type of pattern where the C wave can close higher than the A wave. And I did say to you guys in the previous videos, when we start closing above that last little high there of that $38.80 area, I said game on. So I said that this further move, A, B, C, all the way down, that becomes invalidated if you start closing above there. Well, we've closed the day, the last trading day, above $38.70 roughly, and we closed the week above it as well. If I take off all this stuff here, we closed the week above there. Very bullish for me. For silver now, I believe the correction is in, and I believe we're just onwards and upwards. Now, we were going onwards and upwards over the longer time frames anyway, but this move down now, a further move down, at least on the daily time frame, I don't think is likely. I don't think we get down into that kind of 35, 34 kind of area. Now it's looking very positive. So now, what are we looking at next? Well, the basic next move is up to roughly, it's going to be moving up to $50 US. There'll be a little bit of movement on the way, and I think that's probably sitting at about, let's have a quick look here. If I find my old school Fibonacci area, that's not my one right there, 1980s fib, that's the one I want. Yeah, if I get rid of you and then I get rid of you just for a second, let's just get rid of all this stuff just so you can see a little bit more clearly. Maybe just that one, and that one. Yeah, close enough. So now you have the 1980s Fibonacci. Okay, so this is taken from the old high and the old low. Look, basically, you're just kind of there now. And the next move, look, really, honestly, the next move is, the next move's to $50. That's basically the next major resistance, because if you can see from this high and this low, once again, if you're new to silver, this is the world's longest in time cup and handle formation, 45 years in the making. It's going to break $50 eventually. When it does, we'll get into price discovery, triple digit silver years down the track, and high triple digit silver, I think in like 10 to 20 years, something like that. Okay, much, much higher from here. And you had remember this 0.786 from this high and this low, that was at $38.50. Gee, where are we sitting right about now? Remember that $38.50? I even had it previously drawn in from all the way back down here. You can't see it, but that was a key Fibonacci line. Remember that? The $38 final hurdle. And I've been talking about the $38.50 final hurdle for, nearly a year, something like that, over a year since I started this channel in May of last year. From this high and this low, the $38.50, my final hurdle. It has now been broken and closed over on the weekly time frame. If we can close this month, so we've got another week to 8 days, if we can close August at or preferably above this $38.50 final hurdle, Chef's Kiss Golden, and then, price go up, price go down, but our next final big boss is the $50 mark. So 1, 2, third time's a charm. You'll probably, again, you'll faff around here for a bit. You may spend a few months after you hit 50. It could spend a couple of months, even a few months, just consolidating under. I don't know exactly, but $50 will be broken eventually, and then we'll be talking much, much higher prices. Okay, so looking very positive in the medium term, looking positive in the short term, looking positive in the longer term here. We have done the correction. The correction is over, in my humble opinion. Again, black swan events, things that you can't see, could tank the price, sure. But I think over the long term, we're looking really good for silver. Now, I go live on Tuesdays and on Thursdays on the show. I just want to do this special Saturday morning show because of the Jackson Hole meeting. And if you follow me over on x.com/It's Joe Main, I also do other assets as well, like digital assets, like the ones that I won't mention here because sometimes the YouTube algorithm doesn't like me mentioning those other digital asset kind of things. But find me over there, x.com/It's Joe Main, where I talk about all that other kind of stuff that you can see with those words right there, because they have seen big pumps as well. So if you're into that side of things too, make sure you follow me on X, and of course hit the big red subscribe button on YouTube. And when you're ready to buy precious metals, which, if you're not buying precious metals already, you probably should think about it, head over to Perth Bullion Exchange, perthbullion.com.au, my favorite and I think the best bullion dealer in all of Australia. How would I know? Well, I've worked for 3 major gold and silver bullion dealers here in Australia over the last 12, 13 years. I worked for 3 of the major ones, kind of know what I'm talking about, what, makes a good bullion dealer versus a bad bullion dealer. These are the good guys, okay? You have 20 or more items in your shopping cart, you get free shipping. No other bullion business in Australia ever offered free shipping for any kind of dollar value or any kind of quantity value before Perth Bullion Exchange launched their company in May of last year as well. They're doing absolutely great guns. 20 or more items in your shopping cart, free delivery, express delivery, sign-on delivery, fully insured, all that stuff, except you don't pay for it like you have to with every other bullion dealer. Come on, man. perthbullion.com.au are the greatest. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do a final. We do a synchronized slurp here. If you're new to the channel, what we do is we grab our tasty beverage. You grab yours, I grab mine. We slurp them synchronously together. Yes, we do a slurp. It is my calling card here at Good Morning Stackers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Silver is looking really good right now. So please follow me and subscribe to go on the journey with me. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, keep stacking whatever you're stacking, and I will see you soon.